Well, guess what? I know probably a month ago you guys seen where I was working on a 2004. Well, at the time I thought it was an '03, but it's an '04 Jeep Grand Cherokee. You know it as the WJ. A little bit more fancier than the XJ. This one here has the 4-liter inline 6 engine. And I had a very nice video made for you guys to kind of introduce this WJ and show you the state that it was in and take you through all the different things I was having to fix on it. Well, in all my awesomeness, for some reason I accidentally deleted my editing software, and that finished video was inside that editing software. I had not quite booted it to the YouTube yet, so it's gone. So I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? So I thought we'd make another video and introduce you guys to Becky. This is Becky the WJ. And why do I call it Becky? Because Becky's are almost like Karen's, but in Jeep form, and this one has been nothing but a pain in my ass. So let's go through the whole story real quick. This Jeep had been sitting since 2019. My buddy, his at time girlfriend, was driving it down here to where I live now. Their house is an hour away. Well, she got into town one night about 9 o'clock, and it had a hell of an overheating problem. They got it back here at the house. They couldn't get it figured out. And long story short, he asked a couple people, and some people that really didn't have a clue what they were talking about said, you got a bad head gasket, yada, yada, yada. So after that, he put in 2 bottles of bar stop leak, gummed up the engine and the radiator and the heater core. Didn't fix the issue. So lo and behold, they just let it sit. He went out and spent $15,000 on a Buick Enclave and paid cash, mind you. And so this poor WJ sat there neglected for quite a while. Let me back up just a little bit. Before they had the overheating issue, somebody had stole the wheels and tires off of this one night while she was working. And so now that's why I have these god-awful black wheels with these cheap Goodyear Wranglers. There's a really funny thing about this, but we'll get back to it. Okay, so once I got up on the Jeep, I got to looking at it. Yeah, it had an overheating issue. So first thing I did, I took the whole front end off of it, and I was going after the simple stuff like the electric fan relay, which in most WJs, that relay is underneath this headlight, underneath the bumper cover, but not on this one. But I did find a cruise control vacuum box that was cut in half, I guess where somebody tried to find it before. I did replace that and replace all the vacuum lines up underneath here that I could find, so that was cool. Come to find out, the overheating issue was the electric fan circuit. This Jeep wasn't built with a mechanical fan, but it had an electric fan. So I took the electric fan out, and I was going to replace the motor, but Amazon sent me the wrong fan motor, so I couldn't do that. But I did have a mechanical fan and a new fan clutch. This fan and this fan clutch, I don't know if you can see it, came off a 7.3 Power Stroke diesel. It's an 11-blade fan. And I tell you what, it keeps this sucker cool. I'm running about 190 on average, even when I'm like on these super hot days. The other day it was 103 degrees. Sat in traffic for about 20 minutes. Did get hot. 190. Cool. But prior to installing all that, I went ahead and flushed the engine. I flushed everything. And I still have remnants of that bar stop leak. It is what it is. But it heats good. Everything looks like it circulates well. So I'm pretty much sure that fixed the overheating issue. Now comes the next little problem that the Jeep had. It had a broken brake line up underneath this side. I cut the bad out and I put a new piece in, and I got a cheap flaring tool from O'Reilly's or whatever, and it did the job, but not great. So I came back around to the far left wheel, started bleeding all of them, and then I just couldn't get it bled at all, right? And I got to noticing on the master cylinder here, I had a leak, and this master cylinder was bad. And then when I pulled the master cylinder off, I could tell that diaphragm inside this brake booster was totally garbage. Plus, I was hearing a bunch of vacuum noise underneath the steering wheel. So I went ahead and replaced the brake booster and the master cylinder, then continued to bleed the brakes. You know, far left or the far right rear, then come over here. I come over here, and as I was right here, I was bleeding the brakes. I heard something snap, and I seen smoke. Well, there was brake fluid coming in here, shooting on the exhaust manifold, or spraying, and it was making a little bit of smoke. And I had a brake line break right down in here, right where I couldn't get it, you know. So I was like, shit. So I had to postpone doing that repair. Then I decided to try to hunt down why it had a miss and a fast idle. So I replaced the idle control valve, throttle body positioning sensor, the mass airflow sensor. I put a new temperature thermostat thing here, temperature sending unit right there, and just kind of worked on this for a little while, and it did better, but it still had a fairly high idle, and I didn't have it like pinpoint it down to what the issue was at the time, so I just kind of carried on. The next thing I needed to do is fix this window. The window regulator was bad on this one, and it was almost completely inoperable on this one. So I replaced that one, and I've got the one for the driver's side and the driver passenger too, because they need to be replaced kind of bad. But it wasn't critical, you know, it wasn't something I needed to do. So with the brake issue being my only hang up, I was like, I got to get this Jeep back to my town, and I'll just have a shop down there, go through and replace most of the brake lines. So I got with my buddy, we got a trailer, and we hauled it an hour and a half way into my town and dropped it off at a mechanic shop up in town. It's owned by some Mennonites, and they went through it, and I said, just get the brakes where I can bleed them and make it stop. I don't really care what you do. So what they ended up doing, they had to replace these two brake lines, and all the rubber lines underneath the Jeep they fixed, because they were all just extremely dry rotted at the cost of $470, and they bled the brakes. Did they bleed them that great? They did their best, but they're not the best brakes I've ever had, put it that way. But it stops, and I've been driving it quite a bit here lately. I've been driving it back and forth to work. I had a 370Z that was here. I ended up getting rid of it because it was just the way the world's going right now, and I needed something with four-wheel drive capability so I could do a little bit more stuff, you know what I mean? So after I got it back and I could actually drive it, then I could find more problems upon more problems. There's a lot of grinding in the back, and which comes to find out that is the rear outer axle bearings. I think it's the only axle bearings in this thing. The outer bearings are bad. They moan really bad. Had one sticky caliper on this side. The rotors were so rusted over, they would barely even roll, honestly. And you know how rusty brake caliper or brake rotors go, like, and they sound just like shit. So, especially after sitting 5 years. So I had to replace the rotors, like I said, one caliper, the pads, the emergency brakes, the emergency brake hardware kit on both of these two. I haven't done nothing to the front yet, but this one's going to get new rotors and two new calipers, because the calipers up front here are pretty roached. I'm surprised they're still working, but they're doing okay. I took them apart and I cleaned them. I polished the piston inside, put a new snap ring and a new boot, and they're working okay, but they can be better, right? So I've got new axle bearings coming, and the axle bearings I'm buying are the Timken Set 31s. They're just a very good, high quality bearing and retainer, so that's cool. I was driving it home from work the other day. Yeah, this is pretty fun. So driving home from work the other day, I didn't realize that my sunroof glass flew off. It flew off. It just came off by itself. I didn't realize it until Saturday morning. I stepped out the door and I was like, why is my sunroof open? And I come out here and I get fiddling around and I was like, what's this stuff right here? What's all this stuff? And I was like, something don't look right. Is my glass still up in my roof? Got up there poking around. Nope, it's gone. It is gone. It flew. I hope it didn't hit somebody. I really don't, because that would suck. So now I've got a full-time sunroof, but I do got this though. You know, it's metal. So I mean, it's better than nothing. But this is something I wouldn't expect on having to fix, and I'm gonna have to fix. And I think this is gonna cost me a minimum of $145 at least. Yeah, sucks. Then that evening, I decided to go into another little town and go to the dollar store and get me a little snack and a soda. And I come back out the dollar store, and this tire's flat. Like, I'm talking pancake. There's not a snowball's chance in hell you're fixing it flat. What made it even more funnier is my buddy's girl goes, well, we just bought these wheels and tires new just a couple years ago when I quit driving it. And I'm like, well, Tiffany, I know y'all don't know shit about vehicles, but anybody happen to like tell you how to tell how old a tire is, right? They got these wheels and tires pre-COVID for $500, I think. And so she's like, no. I was like, well, if you come over here and you look, let me see, where's it at? I was like, if you look on these tires, there's a date code, right? And it should be right about here. That is either the 11th month of 2016 or the 11th day of 2016. So when you bought these tires, they were already, you know, several years old. And now it's 2024. This tire is really old, okay? And this is one of the newer tires on the Jeep. The dry rot. Look at that. How dry rotted that tire is, okay? And that's why it blew. Now, like I said, that's the new one. Now, if you look at my driver's side front, this is the 20th day of 2005. That's when that tire was made. This is a 2004. Now, this is the driver's side back tire. Look at that delicious dry rot crack, right? And this tire was made, let's see. I don't know if you'll tell. That ain't right for that one. The 26th day of 2000. So yeah, these tires are about effed completely hard. But the cool thing is this Jeep still had the factory original spare in it. And check out this thing. This tire is beautiful. It still smelled like a brand new tire when I got it out. Ain't got no dry rot cracks on it. It's just perfect. You couldn't ask for a better spare tire, right? So that was good. So now, hopefully I can find some more money and get the rest of these tires replaced with another one of these tires, if they still make them. Now, besides that, the front wheel hubs are wore out. I got to replace those. I think the axle right here is going out. Luckily, I'm almost 100% sure the ball joints, upper and lower, are good. The tie rods are good. So that's a plus. The exhaust system needs to be replaced. Yeah, so the heat shield and everything back there is damn near falling off. There's holes in the muffler, so that's good. I'm just hoping the rear pinion bearing is okay, because I am getting kindly, you know, there's noises stacked on top of noises, and I find new noises as I fix things. But as far as the interior goes, mind my mess, because like I said, I've been driving it to work, it's in good shape. It smells good in here, you know. Like I said, I've been stacking a bunch of shit back here. Now, here's something I can't wrap my head around. How do you wear holes out in your heater controls? See, this goes all the way across here. It's gone. There's holes there. How do you do that? Is that because a girl's driving with these big-ass crazy fingernails and just slowly scraping, you know? How do you do that? But it works, you know. The AC needs charged. But I'll pick up a new one of these on Amazon. I think they're like $100 maybe, I don't know. Something like that. And this Jeep is the Quadra-Track 2. I guess that's good or bad, depending on how you look at it. So this weekend, I've been trying to figure out why I got this high idle. I've replaced all the vacuum lines, tightened everything down that I possibly could think could cause a leak. but I can't find it. If I disconnect the battery and either touch the positive and the ground together for like 10 minutes or so, or just disconnect the power and ground it out, like I'll like put a wrench or a extension through here or a screwdriver and touch this for about a minute and reset that and hook it up. Then I go in here and I turn the headlights on once, turn them off. Well, first I turn the key to on, just don't start it. Then I turn the headlights on, then turn the headlights off. Then start the Jeep, and then I get a really nice idle, about 850 maybe. I'm thinking I need to be more around 750, but I'll take it. And then I can drive it, and as soon as I get home, I turn the key off, start it again. I got 1600 RPM idle. It's driving me nuts. I think it's this. I think the PCM, the main driver, and the PCM's out. 230 bucks. You know, just pocket money, right? So if we come back here, the upper control arm on this back axle, it's in perfect condition. It's shot out of hell, right? That ball joint's wore out, so there's a lot of side-to-side movement if I really get jiggy, you know, driving it. It needs shocks. I'm sure the lower control arm bushings are wore out on it. So yeah, so the only thing I really need to replace is everything in between here and here. But with all that said, with all the 4 liters that I had, I like driving the Jeep. It rides good. It's just been mistreated. It's had a terrible Jeep mom. She's just a girl, and she just drove the shit out of it and didn't care, right? So I'm trying to fix it and make it a good daily. Like I said, 209,000 miles. It runs good. It shifts good. The only thing about the running part is when you first start it up, it's got a tick, 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 tick. You know, a tick. But after you drive a little while and it gets warm, it goes away. And I hate to say it, I don't think it's lifters or nothing like that. I think it's the piston skirts, honestly. A little microscopic crack that gets in there, and they get heated up and they kind of get better. But it is what it is. If it goes out, I'll just get another motor put in it. Because technically, I only paid $250 for this Jeep, not including, the costs and all the parts and the little tools and stuff that I've paid for it. So you figure total, I've got right at $1,700 in the Jeep so far. I don't think that's bad, because the new one's 60 grand, right? But yeah, so when I get it, all the noise is fixed in the drive line, and I put some new Bilstein shocks on it, and I know it's a good solid driver, then I'm gonna replace the hood, put good new headlights in it, replace the driving lights, do tires. The sunroof is going to come probably before anything else, because I got to be able to shut the damn thing, right? So anyways, folks, that is my quick overview of the new Jeep for the Everyday XJ channel. It's not an XJ, it's a WJ, kind of close, sort of. So if you'd like to see more videos on this Jeep as I go and I start working on things, leave a comment, subscribe if you've not ever seen my channel before, because I've been a lazy bastard and I haven't really posted any videos in a long time. So anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one. It does have a CD changer, right? And it's full of girl CDs like Britney Spears and Pink and all that, just really good stuff, right? No.